Chapter 19. The Life of an Early Human. The early human lived in the forests just like other animals. He was known as the hominid. He led a nomadic life. He was afraid of bigger and stronger wild animals. Earlier, he had no house to live in and he spent his time on the trees or hides himself behind the bushes. But it could not provide him security from wild animals, rain, cold and heat. So, he started living in caves. As food and clothes are the basic necessity of human, he started wrapping tree leaves and animal skin over his body to protect himself from cold and heat. But he needed food also to live. He did not know how to grow crops in fields and finding food was not easy. In search of food, he had to go from one place to another. Earlier, he used to eat fruits from trees or roots of plants. Then he started hunting animals for food. Discovery of tools. It was difficult for early human to get fruits, leaves and roots with hands only. It was also very difficult to kill the animals with bare hands. So, he felt the need for some weapons and tools. The early human then realized that he could use stones to make tools and weapons. So, he used sharp-edged stones to kill animals. Probably, this was the first tool he had started using for his need. He kept on improving tools with time and requirements. The early human learned to use sharp and pointed wooden sticks to kill even bigger animals. He made spear by tying a sharp stone to a long piece of wood. This helped him in hunting and killing animals from a distance. In this way, he protected himself from wild animals. Later on, he improved it by making it with bones and started using tools not only for hunting but also for cutting, digging and swing. Discovery of fire. The early human had no knowledge of lighting fire. He tried to keep the forest fire burning by adding dry twigs and leaves. He noticed that rubbing flint stones together can produce a spark of fire. This was an important discovery because he started using fire to cook food and to protect himself from wild animals at night. He also used fire to dispel darkness from the caves and started using fire for warmth in winter. Beginning of farming. The main problem of early human was to find enough food for his family. He had to move from one place to another in search of food. He soon found that whenever he threw the seeds of the fruits he ate, new plants grew from them. This gave him the idea that plants can grow in soft soil. Gradually, he started collecting seeds of different plants and threw them on land. He noticed that in hot and wet weather, the plants grew at a faster rate. This was, perhaps, the beginning of farming by him. In addition, he could also catch fish and other sea creatures for food. Horses, donkeys, cows, goats, sheep and bullocks began to be used for food, farming, milk and transportation of goods. Thus, from a food gatherer the early man became a food producer and began a settled life. Invention of wheel. Before invention of wheel, early human has to walk on foot and use animals to carry heavier loads. It is believed that he may have seen logs floating down a river. Though it was possible to use the rafts on the river, it was difficult to use it on land. He made sledges which had no wheels. He placed his load on a sledge and pulled it himself. The sledge could be carried easily on smooth surface, but it was difficult to move on an uneven surface. Thereafter, he may have noticed round pieces of log rolling on the ground easily. The early human took a round log of wood and found it rolled over the ground easily. So he took a round log of wood and put it under the sledge. Now, the sledge could move easily even on the uneven surface. This was perhaps the first wheel invented by man. Later, he learned to make improved wheels. Historians say that the first wheel was the potter's wheel. This wheel was used for making pots. Today, all means of transport have wheels. Wheels are also used in machines and other instruments.